Hello, everyone. My name is Jared Purcell, and I am a registered dietitian here in beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico. I have a private practice um, here, and I have some videos of the various topics. But today we are going to talk about the Mediterranean diet, which I'm super excited about. So um, let's kind of get started. Um, the first thought is where did the Mediterranean diet come from? How do we? I think everyone's now has heard of the Mediterranean diet, um, and so where did it come from? Basically, it came from what the people around the Mediterranean eat. They kind of looked at some of the things that they eat around there, and they that's how what's based off on the diet. I think there's some differences from what's the traditional diet of the Mediterraneans to what it is now, but this the idea is still the same. Um, the idea was is why are these people living so long? Why are they healthy? They're eating so much fat. It's good fat, but they're eating so much fat. Why is all of their cholesterol levels good and triglycerides? And so there's actually been quite a bit of research done with the Mediterranean diet, a significant amount. I'd actually say that of all the diets that there is out there, diets, um, that the Mediterranean has a substantial amount of research to back it up. Um, Now, what's neat about the Mediterranean is that you can use it for various um, chronic conditions like diabetes, cardiac. That's really where the substantial amount of the research came from was for our cardiac people living or that had heart attacks or heart disease. Um, so that's where a lot of that came from. If you have a family history of arthritis, this is an anti-inflammatory diet. Um, if you have a family history of cancer, this could be a really good diet for people to um, try to increase the anti-inflammatory foods in their body. So you can see that there's a lot of different ways for this or reasons for to use this. Um, Also, I think for weight loss as well. I think it's great. Um, it's a good diet if you want to call it that to use as well, and just overall good health. Um, so that's a reasoning where it came from. Um, there's again just to sum it up. There's tons of research on this, and it's very solid research, which we don't have a lot of research for a lot of these different, what's the word? Probably fad diets, I think. And if we do have research, it's just not really that good of good results that have come from it. So, meaning that the what they're researching, for example, for certain things that the diet claims, that research doesn't really back it up, but in the Mediterranean it does. Um, so, um, just a side note here too is we use the word Mediterranean diet words, um, the diet. So the diet though we don't have to. It's not a diet. It is a lifestyle. So I hate using the word diet. I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Um, Diets are really, to me, they're fad. They make claims that necessarily aren't backed up. Um, so I think it's important to realize, that when we're thinking of this. But um, you have to call it something. You can't just say the Mediterranean. It is, what we eat. But I guess maybe they could call it the Mediterranean lifestyle. I don't know. Maybe not all aspects of Mediterranean is of the lifestyle is good though. Just kidding. But so just kind of a side note, what diets are. But this is um, pretty substantial evidence to support this diet. So we'll go ahead and use it. So um, we'll go ahead and get going with um, what the diet is about, what's the differences, and how it can really benefit us. So um, let's start with one of the components of it, and I think this is the most important one. Um, the Mediterranean diet recommends 6 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. Now, USDA, the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics recommends 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So you can see how, and I've told that to people as well as the 5 servings. Excuse me. So you can see that there's even more servings of fruits and vegetables than um, than the standard recommendations for Americans. Um, so I think that's important. I think that is, and, it's not going to hurt you if you have more fruits and vegetables. So I think that's important to kind of think about. It's only going to help you. It's only going to benefit you. If you're eating 6 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, that just means that you're not eating any of the bad stuff, as much, because you're eating more of the good stuff. Plus, we all know that there's tons of nutrients, vitamins, minerals in these fruits and vegetables. This is one of the most impactful foods that you can eat for your health in a good way. So it's really important to get as many as you can. With the fruits and vegetables also comes the higher fiber content too as well. So that's great. So that's wonderful. So yeah, the fruits and vegetables, that's a big difference, is the 6 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are also anti-inflammatory as well. A lot of them have different properties. Each fruit or vegetable has maybe a little bit different property than another one, but you can see that they're all very beneficial towards your overall good health. So that's important. I think a couple of distinctions probably from American diets would be that there's not a lot of cow's milk. There's very limited. Cow's milk, cheese, cows, from cheese. Cheese from cows. Those types of things. So, in the Mediterranean diet, there's not a lot of that. And when you think about kind of our health, and for me, I love cheese, but it has, it's not a very good food for us, really. It has protein, but it also has a lot of fat, and it's saturated fat. So it's really bad for our hearts, and for our cholesterol levels and triglyceride levels. So it's not good, basically, cheese. And it's hard because we're in Santa Fe, which, there's enchiladas and there's good food. So that's always a tough one for people to kind of adjust to, is decreasing the amount of cheese. But I think if you're looking for weight loss, decreasing cheese from cows is a good thing, because it's also high caloric. So that's one of the differences, is less that. They do eat a lot more goat's cheese. A question would probably come up is goat's cheese better than cow's cheese? Probably not. They probably all have, there's different compositions. But it's a much stronger cheese, when you taste it. So you really don't need all that much. Like if you put it in your salad, you only need like maybe less than a tablespoon to get a really good flavor from it. So I think where it's beneficial is that strong flavor makes you eat less of it, which I think is very true. When you look at like something like cheddar, you could put half a cup of cheese on something with cheddar, and it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't make it overbearing. Sometimes some people don't like that, but the taste doesn't make it overbearing. But if you put like a cup of goat cheese on your salad, that's gonna be way too much, because the flavor is too strong. So I think that's a big difference. And they don't drink cow's milk um, as well. Um, and maybe the question comes up, well, how do I get my calcium? Well, I think there's some good ways. It doesn't mean that you have to stop those things, but always having a multivitamin. You could still do, Greek yogurt's a great option. Um, but I think the idea is that some of those products, some of the cows, for products that comes from cows, they just have a lot of saturated fat to them. There's other ways to get your calcium in. So, yeah, that's just kind of a difference. A couple other differences I would say is there's not a lot of starchy, like starchy vegetables. So that would be like potatoes. Um, there's not. They don't cook a lot with potatoes. They do use pastas. Um, Probably traditionally, I think the current um, form of the Mediterranean diet, what we recommend is whole grains. Um, that's not all that different than we recommend whole grains with the American diet, but I think um, having really good whole grains like quinoa, bulgur, any whole wheat products. You want to make all your pastas. Your rice should be brown rice. Having those grains to be whole grains. That's just going to help you with more fiber. There's also going to be more minerals and vitamins in it as well. So um, again, I don't think that's a big difference, but I definitely think that kind of when you focus on eating a Mediterranean diet, it does help you increase your whole grains. So you just want to stay away from those white processed things, uh, white bread, white pasta. Um, White rice is interesting because it is a whole form, but there's not a lot of nutrients or vitamins to it. So I think using the brown rice is a much better choice, and it's also a high starch content. Um, but it's easily digestible, the white rice. Um, so it's kind of if you look at a lot of probably Asian countries where the white rice is a big staple in their meals. Um, you see that people are all typically slender, but they also eat a lot of vegetables with that. So, you kind of have to look at it all and look at it from the whole picture. So yeah, my rambling here, but doing whole grains is part of the whole system too. Now, I think what distinguishes it is the the amount of good fats that they use. So this is kind of, I think, the big part of it is they use a lot of mono and polysaturated fats. Those are good for us. So um, what those do is a whole host of different things. Um, they can help increase your good cholesterol, decrease your bad cholesterol. Um, they are anti-inflammatory. Your omega threes and omega sixes. So those are really good things. They help with brain function. So what they do is how do I explain this? They help when your brain's firing off. There's a coating around some of those little, I can't remember what they're called. They call it the sheath, and that fat is really good for it. So it helps you with cognition, so thinking more clearly, not forgetting things. Um, so the good fats that they really recommend here is going to be fish, um, salmon. So this is one that you want to focus on is salmon, trout, uh, tuna, mackerel. They all have a higher amount of omega threes in it. Um, so you're looking at 2 to 3 times a week of fish is what they recommend. Um, Other things are walnuts have omega threes are good. Flaxseed, you need quite a bit of it, but that's a great thing to add to your oatmeal in the morning. Flaxseed. Um, and I'm missing one here, but if I think of it, I'll come back to it. But you guys get the picture here. Is those things are good for you. They help, again, with everything I just said. So that's one of the big things, is that there is a higher amount of monosaturated fat in their diet. And so that could potentially be where some of the benefits come from. Plus, and then the fruits and vegetables. So with that being said, since we're on protein, the other thing is that it doesn't recommend a lot of, maybe eggs, like one or, between, I think, twice a week, they say. So that could be different than the American diet. Some people have eggs every morning. So you can see that there's not as much eggs. The protein sources themselves, they'll do some leaner proteins like chicken, maybe turkey, but not a lot. They don't, again, going back to the cow, they don't eat a lot of beef. They don't eat, how we have steaks here, and we have kind of fattier, higher saturated fat meats. There's just not as much as that in this particular diet. That's also a big component of it. So I think, when you look at it, what you're looking at is overall, the other fat that I was thinking of was olive oil. Sorry. Of course. Obviously there's lots of olives there. That's kind of the thought. Olive oil and olives. Avocado. Sorry, there's another one. So those are also the good fats to go back to. So I'll just go over those real quick again, just not to confuse anybody. Salmon, trout, mackerel, tuna, walnuts, flaxseed, chia seed could be in there as well. And then we just talked about olive oil, avocados. So those are a whole host of good fats that we just talked about that can really help, is really beneficial. And that's where a lot of those anti-inflammatory properties come in, along with the fruits and vegetables. I would say, on a personal note, just for us as a family, we started kind of doing this about a month or two ago, just because, we're so busy that we're forgetting things, so we thought maybe it'd help our cognition. And then I always have known all the benefits from it, so I was pretty on board. Now, what we did was we got a magazine, and that's where we've been mainly getting all of our recipes from. So I have it right here: Cooking the Mediterranean Diet, Cooking Light with the Mediterranean Diet. So that's a great one. Here in Santa Fe, you can check out books. We've done that on the Mediterranean diet. But this magazine seems to be the best one. We pick recipes from it. If I was you, that's where I'd really focus in on it, is, how do you incorporate this into your meal? So, meal plan, sorry. So maybe get some Mediterranean recipes and start cooking them, and just seeing, what it is that, how to cook some of those things. And then you start to get an idea. So like we do a lot of quinoa bowls with vegetables. We might do a pasta with tons of vegetables and a little bit of goat cheese. It's a high fruit and vegetable content with a lot of good fats. So, in a roundabout way. So, kind of think about how you can make those. For lunches, our salads are, now we're doing a lot more olive oil, balsamic as our dressing, with maybe a little bit of goat cheese. Oh, and then the one thing I did miss with here is adding more beans to your meal plan. So for your salad, where I thought of it was I've been putting a lot of chickpeas on my salad. So that's pretty beneficial. You want to get as many beans in as you can. And here, pinto bean is a pretty popular one, obviously, and that's okay. All beans have tons of tons of nutrients and like tons. Beans are a superfood as well. Um, Lots of fiber, obviously, protein, so it makes you feel full. Um, so think of ways to incorporate that. Maybe put them in your pasta instead of having ground beef. Um, Maybe making putting them in your salad like I talked about. Um, Maybe putting them in a quinoa bowl. Quinoa, chickpeas, asparagus, zucchini. With some kale. I mean, those are great ways to um, make some of these things. So, um, that's kind of in a nutshell. Um, your next step is to go out and get some recipes and just start making them and see what it's see how to make them, and then once you get a good handle on that, then you can kind of consistently put them in your meal plan. Um, yeah, so that's probably your next step. And just to kind of sum all of this up, again, this is very research. I can't stress that enough. The Mediterranean has a significant amount of research to it. Um, so it's safe, and it's really beneficial, significantly beneficial, and it's beneficial for a whole host of different issues, chronic conditions, as I talked about at the beginning. Um, so that's what makes it so appealing, really. Um, and again, with the diet section, when you look at some of these other fad diets, you can see that they're not as beneficial, or kind of the opposite, where they can be dangerous. Um, so, and I think when you're looking at how do you navigate the whole, because it's so confusing, everything, look on the internet and there's tons of different information on diets. um, how I always give it the test is, if a diet totally eliminates one food group, it's probably not correct. So example would be now the really the popular one is limiting carbohydrates. That's kind of been going on here for a little while. Back in the 80s, 90s, it was probably eliminating fat. Didn't have any fat in anything. So those things are, when you're looking at a diet or you're looking on the internet, you want to stay away from anything that totally says no to one particular food group. Um, some of these things may say no, like don't, like this one, we don't use a lot of cow products. Um, but that's not the same. You're still getting protein in this diet, so you're getting adequate amount of protein through other animal sources, fish mainly, and then also the legumes, the beans, non animal proteins. So that's just kind of a side note as well. So I hope you go out and you get some recipes, and you start cooking, and then you share them with me or your food. That'd be wonderful if you shared it with me. Just kidding. But yeah, go out and start cooking these things, and you're gonna see, within a couple months, you're gonna see a significant benefit to from this. I would say, feeling better, maybe some weight loss, and cognition, and just overall healthy well-being. And once you start eating like this, you're not going to want to stop, because we're human beings. We always are looking for positive reinforcement, and the reinforcement would be feeling better. So, yeah, that's it. The Mediterranean's wonderful. I hope you guys try some recipes and then share your thoughts on it with us. Yeah, as always, let me know if you have any questions on this, and we can talk some more. So thank you so much. Bye bye.